Hello and salutations, I'm Sal. Welcome back to Since Toys and welcome to the collection tour. Before we get started, strap in, it's probably going to be a long video. This is the guided tour version where I'll be talking about things on the shelf. I'm going to try and do it in one long continuous take. I mean, there will be cuts because I'm going to have to like get up and squat and sit down, and I don't think you want to hear me grunting while I'm trying to move these old bones around. So there will be, certain cuts and things like that, or if there's too many jarring movements because I don't have a steady cam, so I'm going to be holding it. But if you don't want to hear me talk, there is another version that should be coming out at the exact same time, where it's just kind of panning through the shelves with music behind it. So if you just want to look at the stuff that I have, that's fine. You can do that and just have music. It's ambient music. But if you want to hear me talk about things, you're at the correct video. If there's anything that I show on camera that you want to know more about, just ask me in the comments and I'll answer it. Anyway, this might be my last video for a while, so enjoy it. Alright, starting off the collection tour. For those that don't know, in addition to my day job and I guess career at this point really, and YouTube and everything else, I'm also a musician, if you didn't know that. That jingle that everyone seems to either love or hate, I wrote that. So this is pretty much what's left of my instruments. I had probably 2 times as many, or maybe 3 times. I don't know, my math's not that good. If you have any questions about any of those, I guess ask them in the comments or something, because this isn't really a music channel. So over here, we have 2 short boxes that have comics in them, obviously. It's what's left of my comics. I don't really collect them anymore. I did for a while, and I just kind of got out of it. You'll see like a few graphic novels and things here in a minute, and then one of my other, favorite comics later on. And that is a Mosasaurus. So there's that. We also have some lightsaber blades, which we're coming to here in a second. Start of a Star Wars display, I suppose. So we have like the Force FX or Force Unleashed or whatever that thing's called for like the statues. So we have Darth Vader. We have the Han Solo, Obi-Wan, Luke, and Chewie from the Falcon. That's from the VHS release. That's part of the old cardboard standee that they used to have. This is the Black Series Darth Vader helmet that I have. And we have some Taco Bell toys. So these are all from my childhood. These Yodas, the R2, my little battle on Tatooine. And moving down the shelf, you can see we have Darth Maul. And these are all Ultra Sabers. So this is called the Scorpion, I believe. It lights up purple. I don't remember what that one's called, and it takes really specific batteries that are dead, and I don't think they'll hold a charge anymore, but it used to light up blue when it did. And we've got Grievous from the same line, one of Ahsoka's lightsabers that lights up kind of green-ish, then a little stunt saber that also lights up green. The reason I'm not turning these on is because they're really loud, so, here I'll show you what I mean. So they're kind of loud. Didn't want to have to keep doing that over and over. Next shelf, we have Asajj Ventress. Then we have the Warglaive, which is red. And then I forget what that one's called. It's a stunt saber that also lights up red. So these stunt sabers don't have any sound. So I can just turn them on and off without any problems. And then down here, we have Dooku. And I forget what this one's called. But that's what it looks like. So there's that. It lights up. I think it's called Destiny Rider or Sunrider's Destiny. It's a weird teal color. And then we have an autographed photo from Jeremy Bulloch for Boba Fett. And down here we have IG-88 and some stuff related to work that I'm not going to show you. Moving right along to the shelf next to that, we have Dinosaurs. Well, sort of dinosaurs. He's not. I mean, technically he is, but he's not from Jurassic Park. You know what I mean. I think it's Primal Rage, or Primal Age, or something like that. It's a video game character. We have all sorts of dinosaurs here and a couple characters. Most of everything on this shelf is left over from my childhood. Most. There's like, I'm counting like 2. Only 2 of these aren't from my childhood. I still have a childhood photo from when I got my Bull Rex from when, that Christmas. So, coming down the shelf, we have some movies. And they're not in alphabetical order, some are upside down. I just really don't care to fix it. That's an Aztec Death Whistle. And for those that watched, it was one of the things I made with Bobby. I don't remember if it was the collection tour or the office tour. But we talked about tie-ins. And these were Burger King for the Jurassic Park The Lost World. They made 4 watches. and that's one of them. I have all four, but Bobby very kindly gifted them to me. So you'll see the other three here shortly. We have some more movies and TV shows, and a tiki mug for Hellraiser, and another watch, and one of the only Hot Wheels that I own. So I bought it recently because I had a Hot Wheels as a kid that was like a electroplated gold robot that held a rifle, and that's what it reminded me of, so I bought it. And now we're starting with some books. Books and books. There are lots of books that I've never read. Most of these, actually, I think I've read all of these. But there's more books in my collection that I have not read. But got that. We have a compass. We have another watch. Sliding on over, we have some more books. Now, I've read probably half of these, maybe. But we have another watch, and that's a skull from Dave Sculpey Toys, I think. I'll link them in the description below for Instagram. It's a little container, magnets and a brain. Really good stuff. And I think he's out of Ireland or Scotland. I'm pretty sure it's Ireland, but he makes really good stuff. Then we have another comic and some scores, some music. So, just some sheet music for classical guitar. And here we have some comics. So I ended up getting that He-Man Dark Horse collection of the mini comics. Tried to read it. I read some of it. Couldn't do it. So we got some Rusty Shackelford's Pocket Sand. And moving right along to one of my catch-all displays. This is predominantly like this display, like the tiers of shelves and all that, is mostly like 98% of it is all toys left over from my childhood. So these are like childhood originals for the most part. Not all, but for the most part. So we got a few things. We got some Wildcats back there. Got the Shadow. Got some Fisher-Price guys. I wish I still had that castle. Littlefoot. Road to El Dorado McDonald's toy, I think. Sonic, which I think was Wendy's. This little goblin dude, which I think is from Black Star or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know. I got him recently. He's not from my childhood. We got some gargoyles. I picked those up at Second Chance Toys. Behind them, we have some Warriors of Virtue, which are awful toys to a really shitty movie, but I was nostalgic for them, so I got them. And we got some Mighty Duck cartoon figures. I was kind of a fan of that show when I was a kid, and it's a lot better than I remember. They break the fourth wall a lot. It's really funny. Moving up a shelf, we got some Swamp Thing, and the guy in the orange there is from my childhood. So is that Hydra back there from the Hercules toy line. This little mantis dude I bought off Mike LeMay, and I think he's just awesome. I love that thing. So we got some Biker Mice from Mars, and we got some Extreme G.I. Joe back there. That Beetlejuice, Dinosaurs, and Nightmare Before Christmas tape are they've been with me since, ever since we got them when I was a kid. So those are my originals. Wish I had a VCR still. I think I do somewhere in storage, but it'd be nice to watch them again. And we got Chemo, Earthworm Jim, Terminator, Space Jam, all that kind of stuff. Everything over here, sans him, is left over from my childhood. So everything in front of the Robotech / Exo Squad is from my childhood. However, those two little ones are from my childhood, just not the big one. So got some Guts, some Dino Riders, which you may have seen the Dinosaurs when we were going over that, and some Z-Bots. Now all these are recent acquisitions here. All these Congo figures. I pretty much got almost the entire Congo line, not to be confused with the Conga line. I got them on eBay for Iconicon, so I could do that panel. And I got some GoBots for Monstrositus, I think it was called, something like that. Those are from my childhood. Alright, and coming up a shelf, you can see we have a lot of stuff. So starting in the back, we have that weird monster dude and a VR trooper. Brave Star, Tex Hex is not from my childhood. I bought him off Matt Swafford. We have some what I've been calling Guyver, but I guess they're not Guyver. They're called something else. I don't know what they are, but the dude in white has been with me since childhood. We got some Resident Evil toys back there, which William and Leon here and the Liquor have been with me since childhood. Then we got the Kenner Alien guy. That he has not been with me since childhood. I got him at Second Chance Toys, but that's the one I had, so very happy to have him again. We have some Skeleton Warriors, which is a great line and vastly underappreciated, I think. I think they look fantastic, especially Aracula. I don't think you can beat him. He's got, 6 arms and legs and all that. So, cool stuff. So that brings us to a one Waterworld figure, some Hook figures. We got Peter Pan and Hook. And, it starts a miniature kind of Kenner DC sort of. I have these 2 Scarecrows. I didn't know what to do with them. Got Mighty Max, but then we got Killer Croc. These 2, Batman, the red shirt, and the combat belt Batman, are from my childhood. This Anakin Skywalker, California Raisin, and I forget what the skeleton dude is, but that's from my childhood. So is this Mighty Max. I don't know if I said that. Coming up a shelf, Jeremy Jernigan sent me all this and forced me to talk about it, and he's holding me hostage and trying to convince everyone that I like Dragonheart, but I don't. I think it's awful. That's why I have so much of it. I'm just kidding. This is all my Dragonheart stuff, so. I had Bowen here, the guy with the blue sleeve. I had him as a kid. And this is my childhood dragon. I think it's called the Razorback Dragon, something like that. But that's my childhood dragon. So we had a couple of these when I was a kid. I remember 2nd grade very well. I had a gargoyle lunchbox and a Dragonheart backpack. So, and here we have some extreme dinosaurs. So, got quite a few, but nothing I'm too terribly into, I suppose. I mean, I do like them. I'm only missing the T-Rex, and I'd have all the core dinosaurs, or at least a representation thereof. Then we have Slopster and Moby Lick from Street Sharks. Those are 2 of my favorites. This weird castle thing, which I think is to a board game, but I've had it since childhood. Then we have the main bad guy, Dr. Piranhas, I think's his name, something like that, from Street Sharks. And here's a Terminator. For those that don't know, and that I think it's the same video over at Bobby's, I talked about this Terminator and having it as a kid. Was trying to look for it and couldn't find it because if you type in 8 to 10 inch Terminator on eBay, the talking one pops up, and that's not what I had. But Drew G, who appeared on an episode of The Way I Played, was able to hear that description, and he found that. He sent me a link, and I'm ever grateful for that, so I was able to pick it up again. Alright, starting up at the top of the next shelf, we have the Brachiosaurus and the Apatosaurus from the Jurassic Legacy line. I believe those are the 2 dinosaurs anyway, I could be wrong. We have some artwork that was done up by a friend of mine who is also a tattoo artist, who did probably most of my, well, he did most of my tattoos. I'm not sure what the percentage would be, but he did most of them. And now we have Power Ranger helmets. So we have the White Ranger, autographed by J.C. David Frank, and then next to him we have the Pink Ranger, obviously. Coming down, we have the Bandi Legacy Collection, Legacy Series, I forget what it's called, but it's plastic and die-cast metal. But the Saba Sword, again, autographed by J.C. David Frank. Coming down one shelf, we have the Red Ranger and Lord Zed, which is, if I back out, you can see you need a lot of clearance for that Z. So thankfully it curves, and the shelf was deep enough to support the helmet and let the Z go upwards. But that's why I ended up with a small mini shelf in the middle, which was perfect for Saba. And coming down, we have one of the only 2 pop vinyls that I have in my collection, which is a Tommy Ranger, the 25th anniversary, also signed by J.C. David Frank. Same with the Dragon Dagger, which is Lightning Collection, and that little 8x10, all autographed, along with my Green Ranger helmet, which is the Bandai Legacy Collection, or whatever it was called. It's the same one that Saba's from. So I've met J.C. David Frank a few times, and those are not the only other autographs that I have from him. But this is all subject to change, because as of this recording today, I got my email from Hasbro that my Blue Ranger helmet is on its way. So I'm going to have to do some rearranging. And here we have my childhood Wembley doll from Fraggle Rock, but in front of my General Quan. I don't know what that's called, a relief, I guess. I was really obsessed with the Quan Dao weapon in high school, and I got that as a birthday gift from my grandparents. And next to that, we have one set of movies. So I have close to 500 or 600 movies in my collection, but I don't have them all here. They're mostly in storage and have been for years, but this is a little bit of what I have. So just half a tower, and we'll go over another tower here in about 3 seconds. But first, let's go over one of the video game towers. So just to see, or just to show you, I should say, just to show you the games that I have, like, in case you're curious. Because some people are, and no, I have not played all these games to completion, but I have played most of them. Okay, now here we are with more movies, and they are not in any alphabetical order at all. So you're just going to have to deal with it. Even though it drives me nuts too, one day I'll get around to fixing it, but at the moment I just don't care. So, but what kind of sucks is having a lot of my shit in storage, like movie-wise. I end up having to rebuy a lot of movies, and that kind of sucks. So, there you go. So we'll come back up, and we will move out into the living room. Okay, starting us out in the living room, and hopefully you don't hear my neighbors stomping around upstairs. But I have some Pokemon plushies. I have a big Cubone, Totodile, and a little Gengar. That's a K-bar sticking out right there. But in here, I don't know if you'll be able to see in there, but I have Nintendo 64 stuff, like hookups, controllers, all that kind of stuff. And down here, I have some PS3 games that won't fit on their tower, which is behind me. But I have Super Nintendo and N64 games. So the vast majority of these are still with me from childhood. So these are original copies for me. Some aren't. There are a handful, like maybe one or two, but everything else in here has been with me since childhood. Alright, moving on from the Pokemon. Some more plushies. I have a neighbor Totoro, a couple pillows like R2 and a Stormtrooper, and I have a plush Lord Zed. That is not from my childhood, but I did mention it on the Power Ranger stream on WCBS for Iconicon, and once I remembered it, I went on eBay and bought one. And then I have a big Gengar, so one of my favorite Pokemon. I have an Action Force poster, which is from Florencio, I believe is his name. Bobby gave me this. Florencio had given him, I think, 2 by accident, or maybe a 3rd by accident, and so he gave it to me, and it hangs up right here. So as soon as you open the door to my apartment, this is the first thing you see. Hanging up here, I have some Power of the Force 2 trading cards. Whenever they were made, I don't know, but these are uncut sheets. So there are 2 sheets, so one and another one behind it, but they're uncut sheets of collectible cards, trading cards, whatever you want to call them. Below that, and peeking through here into the kitchen, you can see my R2-D2 cooler, which I think might be one half size, or like maybe like 1 and 170. I don't know. It's close to full size. And then we have popcorn buckets that line up behind the futon here. So just something I do anytime I go to a movie. If it's a movie I'm really excited for and they offer a plastic popcorn bucket or metal one, I get it. Normally, I bring them home, I wash them out, and then I put little trash liners in them, and they become little waste bins. But I have enough trash cans, so they're just on display now. Next up, we have a cat bus from Neighbor Totoro Piggy Bank. We have Diamond Select Aang in Avatar State, another Totoro little ceramic, and Spirited Away playing cards. Speaking of Totoro, there it is. I don't know if you can tell if it's that it's my favorite Studio Ghibli film or not, but it is. Then we have a piece of artwork that a friend of mine painted for me. We call it Derpados because it's made to look silly. And beneath all that, we have my Ninja Turtles. So, a lot of stuff here. Big fan of the big action figures, but I only have Ralph and Leo. I had a chance to get Mikey and Donnie, but I wasn't able to. It required me to drive a little bit with my schedule, and the lady's schedule couldn't get it to work out, and I keep kicking myself because she wanted $20 for the pair of them, and I kicked myself for not doing that. We have Mikey and Leo plushies. Those have been with me since I was a kid. That is the new re-release, like the Walmart line or whatever, for Leo on the card. That's the only one I wanted. I have Leonardo Troll Doll. That's been with me since I was a kid. Same with my VHS copy of TMNT and Secret of the Ooze. This is my Casey Jones mask. You've seen me wear it once on the channel. I wore it at the Iconicon meetup. So, anyone who knows me is not a stranger to that, or if you look at the Iconicon artwork, I'm wearing it there too. Coming down a shelf, we have some Ninja Turtles and some Imposters. So we got Splinter, Leo, and some Bucky O'Hare figures. These are the 3 that I had as a kid. They're not my childhood originals, but these are the 3 characters that I had, and that's all I want from the line. So I just figured, they blend in well enough, so I'll put them with TMNT. Scrolling along here, we get Casey Jones. You can see my Donnie and Mikey soft heads back there. They're my childhood originals. I have 2 versions of Tolka. So one is a little bit lighter, is a little bit different colored than the other one, and he has spots. So I think one of them's like a movie turtle, one's just regular, I'm not sure. But 2 different versions. I have a Super Shredder back there. Then we have my hardhead and softhead Leo and my softhead Raph. Those are from my childhood. Then we have Razar. We have a weapons tree that's still intact. I forgot to mention my SH Figure Arts Turtles. Those are my favorite versions. And we have a Krang and some accessories and, those guys. Coming down a shelf, we have Softhead Bebop and Rocksteady. We have the Mutating Leo, Triceraton, I think that's the guy, Genghis Frog, Mutating Donnie. Then we have Storage Shell Leo and Shredder. Storage Shell Leo was probably one of my favorite Leos as a kid. We have two Metalheads. I put them right under the light so the light piping works. Slash behind them. Disguised Donnie, a Mouser, one of the vehicles, and a Shredder that I don't know. So then we have the 4 turtles from the Turtles in Time movie, which is one of my favorite ones as a kid. Still love that movie today, even how awful it is, I don't care. And then we have Krang with his body. We got the Mutating Bebop Rocksteady, Scumbag, 2 Rafts in space. This Shredder and Splinter that are the Mutating or Transformer or whatever, those are from my childhood. This playset Tolka is also from my childhood. We got Muckman, who just blew ass and left. We got Rat Trap, or whatever that guy's name is, I don't remember. Wingnut. We got some more turtles. Ray Fillet, Usagi Yojimbo. As I mentioned, some of these are from my childhood, but I also got a lot of these off Mike LeMay. So he was selling his off and was able to sell some to me, and I always appreciate that. So, especially that Krang. My favorite thing that I got off Mike LeMay is my Krang back here, and you might notice that the left hand is backwards, and that's the way he got it. He got him brand new on Christmas Day or something like that, or a birthday, and that's exactly how he came out of the box, with a backwards hand. Standing up and coming around the side, we have some more kind of strange Pokemon. So we have the Gengar, Haunter, and Ghastly, kind of just in their evolution state, doing that, or evolutionary forms, whatever. Below that, we have some Ron Rudat original art. This is not a print. This is hand-drawn by Ron with pencil. So this is Spirit. Of course, I get Spirit. So there's his little card that's autographed. But I could have gotten a print, but I decided to get original artwork. I've had this since 2019, I believe. Maybe 2018, but I think 2019 is where I got it. And now, starting off, we have G.I. Joe. So I've got my classified series here in front of my MCC, which is, I want to say, like 99% complete. But these are my classified figures. I only have 10, I think I counted. So I'm not really into the line, but I have what I have. So back here we have the DEF Cutter, or Cutter version 2. That was gifted to me by Scott Hughes, I believe. I don't remember if he gave it to me or if I bought it from him. But either way, Scott Hughes was the source on that. We have a Mini Duke. So these are my Hall of Fame G.I. Joes here. And that Cobra Commander, I got him at Joe Fest, so it's not the one I literally grew up with. But that is the version of Cobra Commander I grew up with. So I didn't know he had anything other than a hood to wear. So there's Fiona for our classified. And behind them is my Mamba, which is, it has the box. It's not sealed, but I didn't have anywhere to store it because my G.I. Joe display's full, so it's in the box. Have some carded Street Fighter 2 figures gifted me by Michael French, and they are proudly on display. Another Hall of Fame G.I. Joe, that one's heavy duty. I got him from Matt Swafford. He stands guard over my my Kraken here. And this Kraken is the only vintage Action Force anything I have in my collection. It was kindly gifted to me by Tony over at Analog Toys. I kind of cringe thinking about when he gave it to me because I was in shell shock. Like I knew it was coming, kind of thing. Like I knew he was bringing it to me, but I guess I forgot and I didn't know how to react. But I was just kind of shocked by it, and so he lives here in this display case, being protected by heavy duty. Next to that, we have I think that's Diamond Select that did these PVC statues, maybe? I don't know, but we have Destro. We have some Sergeant Savage figures behind him. Of course, no one's a stranger to the Rattler around here. Another carded Street Fighter 2 figure, another again from Michael French. We got my carded Battle Corps Dr. Mindbender and my carded General Flag. I have a couple bags of accessories and my G.I. Joe locker. This is where all the weapons and everything else live for them, so I need to put those in there, but I'll get to it eventually. We have the mortar defense, I think this is. I don't remember, but we have that hanging out here. Coming down one shelf, we have the APC with a bunch of figures. My collection is not in any type of order by year or anything like that. It's just kind of just people I threw together. So we have my Keel Hall, but I do not have a flag, as you'll see. So just some figures hanging out. I forget who's driving the APC, but there's somebody in there. Then we have Leatherneck. This Night Force Spirit, which has been on my grail list for a while, was gifted to me by Evander from Paris. So thank you, sir, very kindly for that. He lives here next to my other Spirit, so I don't know. I mean, you saw the artwork that I bought, so Spirit's one of my favorites. And down here, we have Topside and Cutter version 1, who you really can't see past the missile silos there. Let's go ahead and rotate that. So there's Cutter, but they man the whale, which is mostly complete. I need new fans because they're broken, or one of them is. It doesn't seat entirely, and of course the weather vanes are always broken. And these are 3D printed, but I'm fine with that. I don't care. But one of my favorite Joe ships, period. And then we have my Deep 6 collection. I'm up to 7 now, or 8 if you include version 4. But Deep 6 I army build. I love Deep 6. So then we have these guys who are actually Arctic troopers. I forget their names. I cannot remember the name right now, but for me he was a diver. So he was a diver or a spaceman. That's why he's up here with Deep 6. Then we have Shipwreck version 2, I believe. Version 2, maybe version 3, but it's when he became a SEAL. This was actually my first purchase from Matt Swafford back in 2018, I want to say. Maybe 2017, but I think 2018. And the shelf below that, we have some random stuff here. So, got the Grenadiers, ships, and all that. So, just the way that I do things with some Grenadiers. That's my fire bat. So, I no longer have a Terradrome, but I still have my bat. There's my Globulus. And the top shelf next to the one we were just at, we have my Nitro Vipers and my Track Vipers. I army build them, but I have neither of the things that they pilot or drive or whatever you want to call it. I just like the figures. Have my Stinger. There's one of my Gyro Vipers. One of them is in the Mamba box, so I just figured I'd put him out here. Some Major Bloods. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and name every character. You know what they are. James Salzberg donated this snake armor to me, and it's proudly up here with everyone else. These are all my bats. I'm a big fan of the Inferno bats, as you might be able to tell, or guess because they're translucent. But those are pretty much the bats that I army build, are those ones. So we got some Vipers, and again, this is a mixture of like modern and vintage. It's my straight arm Coco, who is still in really great shape, I think, all things considered. So a little scuffing around the toes, but I think he's in great shape. My hooded Coco, who's in equally good shape, I believe. Some Immortal Guards, a Black Major Chrome Bat, Asp, and all that. And all these guys, you might recognize this Dr. Mindbender. Alright, coming down, we have some Mega Marines and some Core figures. To me, growing up, the Core was the same thing as G.I. Joe, so they're all mixed together here in my collection. Ask me if I fucking care. So, got some people in there kind of stocking up or manning up the Eagle Hawk, not the Tomahawk. So, and this flag is my childhood flag. That is my first G.I. Joe. Well, my first G.I. Joe. I had a couple that I played with that were my older brothers, but General Flag was the first G.I. Joe that was given to me that I knew was a G.I. Joe. So, and quite a few. There's Updraft. He's one of my absolute favorite G.I. Joes. So, I know people hate the neon, but I love it. And I don't care if you like it or not. I really don't. Go suck an egg for all I care. Alright. Now, this is another kind of, I mean, they've all been really catch-all shelves, but this is like basically everything I didn't have room for, but down here. So, just enjoy the show, I guess. So, there's some cool stuff down here. But for the most part, it's ones I either don't care about or just, just kind of threw them up here. Like, most of the people that are driving are, like, banged up in really bad shape, so. Alright, and the shelf next to that, you can see my Cobra Infantry, who's not lit up very well, but he's back there as the gunman for the hiss. I have all my Dreadnoks down here, with a couple core figures and a couple people who aren't Dreadnoks, but they look enough like a Dreadnok to me. We got Crocmaster, we got the Cobra version 4, Interrogator, and this green dude that, I know he's G.I. Joe, but I think it's like Valor versus Venom or something, but whatever. He was translucent green. I thought he looked cool. Got a Cobra Eel. Got Crystal Ball and an Alley Viper from like 2004 or 5 hanging out here. And my favorite ship in G.I. Joe, the Cobra Bug. Acquired this from Matt Swafford. He really came in clutch on that, and he found this like dead mint perfect Cobra Bug. So Couldn't have a better example, I don't think, unless it was fresh out of the box. So, got the Havoc back here, with just some random people piloting random things. Mercer version 2. These Mega Marines back here are not real Mega Marines. They're like head swapped Mega Marines, but you know, same thing. Monstro Viper. Got the missile defense set. General Flag version 2. My two favorite core figures, Just in Case and Large Sarge. So we got Codename Blastoff, which is a documentary that was made prior to Toys That Made Us, and it's actually really good. It was made by Tristan Rudat and Ron Rudat, so it's very good. Ice Cream Soldier, not army building him on purpose, I just keep ending up with him. Then there's another updraft and two more core figures. And down here are my 25th anniversary Joes, so 25th Firebat, a Hiss Tank, and an Awe Striker. Those are the Walmart ones. They were on clearance, and I figured, why the hell not? So, Firefly, you know, this is the Cobra side of everything. I mean, it's fairly self-evident, I'd imagine. So, and then we have all kind of the usual suspects back here. I'm sure someone will see their favorite, or one that they don't like, or one that they like a whole bunch, or whatever. So, just the usual suspects, I believe. Okay, and that's the last of the G.I. Joe for a minute. There is more G.I. Joe, but for now. So this starts Storm Collectibles. Got the Golden Axe skeletons, and then Motaro, he's hanging out here, but his skeleton's being taken out by Cyrax, which we'll get to in a second. But we got Ermac, Kentaro, who you've seen on the channel already, Scorpion, Kung Lao, there's Cyrax, Goro, and Rain. So, hanging out all together. And then we have Bane back there, because he's off by himself. Coming down a shelf, we have the Mattel Creations The Batman Batmobile, which is great. It's an RC car. I turn it on. You know, the headlights really work, and this whole thing lights up. But I'm not gonna bother with that at the moment. It was $100, and it'll fit a figure easily. I mean, you have to go in like Dukes of Hazzard style, but it'll fit them pretty easily. Coming down a shelf, we have all the Final Faction stuff that I got. And the overwhelming majority of all this was given to me by my good friend Goji over at Gojitron, you know, link in the description. If I mention a channel or an IG or anything like that, the links will be in the description. That goes without saying, but, you know, I didn't want people to think that, oh, he said my name and it put me in there, but no, Goji for sure is going to be in there. But yeah, they're a buck, or I guess $1.25 now, thanks inflation. But, you know, for $1, you can army build the shit out of these things. So, they are packed to the gills. Down here's my McFarlane Raw 10, plus whoever that dude is. I think he's from Overwatch, but just needed a home for them, and this is where they landed. So, you know, I still like them. I think they're cool, but I think I'm done. I don't think I'm doing any more of those. Alright, and just moving straight across, this is Jurassic Park again, but this is all the modern stuff. So, you know, you've seen, I think everything here, I think everything down here you've seen on the channel. So, you know, I got the Nedry Jeep back there, the Ford Explorer and all that. Timmy's in the backseat laying down. So, when dinos roam the earth, and all these figures and all that in the Triceratops, so that's just where they live. Coming up a shelf, we have a shared shelf, I should say. So we have Exo Squad, which I'm a big fan of. I love Exo Squad. Unfortunately, this is all I have for Exo Squad is these 4 mechs. So, and I'm missing 2 pilots. So that kind of sucks. But they share the shelf with Captain Power. So, I had this black jet when I was a kid. I didn't have this exact one, but I had, you know, I had the black jet, just not the one that's here right now. This is a new acquisition. Or new in air quotes. And I had a Captain Power figure. Had no idea what they were. I had a VHS tape and all that, but the fact is that this cockpit ejects, and that was my favorite jet in playtime. Big shout out to Ryan, aka Laserpants, of course. He was at a convention a couple years ago, and he was like, "You looking for anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, Captain Power." So he facilitated that deal on my behalf. Coming up, we have DC. So it's a mixture of McFarlane and other Mattel lines, I guess. So this is the Man-Bat. All the DC cards that they all come with. Got the, basically Doomsday back there, Doomsday Batman, whatever he's supposed to be. So you'll see, like I mentioned at the start of this video, this is a whole separate video. Like, it's not like I just filmed once and then just you know, cut out all the audio. Like, I've rearranged the display, you know, since the other one that I filmed, because I realized you really couldn't see much back there. So, yeah. I also acquired this Batman and Green Lantern last night. And coming up, we have all the big DC figures. So Killer Croc, who you saw on the channel, Clayface, the Joker. This Man-Bat falls over so easily and so much. I have him in a three-point stance, just completely crouched with a fist on the ground, and he hasn't fallen over since. So there's our Bane and two Swamp Things and Batman. And then we smoothly transition over into McFarlane. So we've got Cygor, the two spawns there. And then we transition to Death Dealer, I think's his name, and this little diorama I made, which transitions us into Warhammer 40k, still by McFarlane, with those guys up there next to that Dio. So that's kind of what I did. I started with them, went Warhammer, you know, another McFarlane line that kind of fit. Two Spawn with McFarlane DC, you know, kind of fitting in because that Bane kind of works and all that. And then as you move down, there's a Storm Collectible Bane who's DC, and a Storm Collectible Mortal Kombat. So it just kind of flows. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Alright, and coming down a shelf, we have my articulated icons. So in the back row, we have a bunch of kind of just army builder ninjas that I used dye to dye them black to varying degrees of success. You know, got our white ninja, who I was going to turn into a storm shadow and just never got around to it. Two samurai, which is Sumetsu, and I forget the other guy's name. Got a blue ninja and a black ninja that I got red arms for, and one of the gray ninjas. So you can see some of those guys in the back there. They're all in different poses, but some of them kind of turned out a little bronze or brown. So varying degrees of success. The navy blue was the closest one that turned to black. And beneath them, we have the Spirit Bandai Spirits, something, I don't know, it's the Gundams that you get at like Target and Walmart. So got two Iron Blood Orphans, the Mobile Suit 08 team, I think that is right there. Then we got the Zaku and the Mobile Suit Gundam. That Zaku thing that I did the model build that was going to be a 3-part series. I scrapped it. It's a long story. The short version is that I was trying to customize it and I did a bunch of shit to it and forgot to hit film. So I basically spent like 4 hours customizing it, like irreversible customizing, and didn't even record it. So yeah, that happened twice. Because I was like, you know what, I'll just do an addendum. I'll just make it a 2-parter, and for what would be part 3, now part 2, I'll just say, like, this is what happened to part 2. I did that, and for part 3, I forgot to hit record. So just scrap the whole idea. But otherwise, it's mostly just Gundam wings. And we have this line that I don't remember, but I got these from Matt Swafford. So same thing with these kind of G.I. Joe mech suits. So I think these things are kind of cool. I was going to turn them into Dreadnought vehicles, just never got around to it. They're actually made by Tonka, I believe, and they're metal, so they're pretty heavy. So another G.I. Joe mech suit. Coming up one shelf from those, I have all my Transformers. And this is it. It's pretty much Megatron and Soundwave. That's pretty much all I like. That and I like Devastator, but pretty much it. So that's those. I got a Rock Lord. I got whatever that little blue car is behind him from Matt Swafford. The yellow ones I picked up from Seth Hastings at Plastic Galaxy, but he doesn't have a store anymore, so it doesn't really do you any good. But these are all the little tapes that I have for Soundwave. Next to them, I have all my Sectaurs. So a line I just think is really cool. I don't know. This is the one I had when I was a kid. He didn't have any armor or anything, but I had him as a kid, and he was just so fucking cool to me. I don't know. This one right here. I used to clip this around my wrist and pretend I could like shoot things out of it, or it would like fly off and hurt people. Just, you know, imagination. But I think Sectaurs are really cool. Coming up from there, we have a Jabba the Hutt. This is a bronze statue. I think it's bronze, maybe copper. I don't know. Bronze, I assume, but it's a Star Wars Classic Collection, whatever. Made by Applause. It is numbered 1641 out of 5,000. If that means anything to anybody, let me know, because it means nothing to me. And then I have my Hellboy shelf. So I got a Hellboy piggy bank, Mega Constructs. That is a Mezco, Johann Kraus. So back before they were doing cloth goods and all that kind of stuff. It's from 2005, I think it is, 2005, 2006, something like that. We got my 1,000 Toys Ape Sapien. I have a photo back there of Hellboy and Ape Sapien, the Ron Perlman one. So it's Ron Perlman's autograph on Hellboy. I'm hoping to get Doug Jones's autograph. Up from there, you've seen those guys already. And here I have that kind of castle thing that I made. I just have that little Warcraft ogre dude hanging out there. I got him at like an Ollie's for $3 or something. I thought I'd use him eventually. I never did. Got my Boromir that I got at Second Chance Toys. And I have my Gandalf and my Saruman. So they hang out there. And behind them, I have an autographed photo of Billy Boyd. So met him, and he was an outstanding gentleman, a stand-up guy. Okay, so above all of that, I have some Link artwork, but above him, I have my Power Ranger stuff. So, I have a bunch of Red Rangers. That is a original carded flip head, a vintage flip head. So I have a vintage flip head, a re-release flip head, a vintage carded flip head, the 8-inch, the modern flip head, which is not that good, some vintage 8-inch Blue Ranger and Black Ranger. One of them is the talking version. One of the Blue Rangers is that, I should say. The red, black, and blue, otherwise just regular. Then I have a Lord Zed and Venusable Flytrap, Lord Zed statue. Then that's another one of my autographs from J.C. David Frank on my flip head there for my Green Ranger. Again, a vintage Green Ranger and a re-release open. And up here, you saw it in the other video, but this is one of those lenticular things where he goes from green to black to White Ranger. So it's a little poster, again, autographed by J.C. David Frank. Starting at the top of my only Detolf, I have a Giant Bosk, a Bardock, and one of those statues from like the lightsaber shelf, one of those for Bosk. Then I have my Gentle Giant Jumbo Bosk that was given to me by Michael French. It is one of my most cherished items. Pretty much anything that my friends give me is like one of my, it's something I'll never sell. So I've considered selling things. I've given away some of my childhood toys to people, but things that are gifted to me like that I'll never sell. Please ask for assistance with this shelf. This Detolf I bought from Seth Hastings when Plastic Galaxy still had a physical location. So it is it's my only Detolf, and I'll probably never get rid of it. So this starts kind of my autograph heavy stuff. So this is my Black Series Darth Maul, Episode 1 Phantom Menace Darth Maul, and my Toad. They are all autographed by Ray Park. He was an upstanding gentleman. Seriously, a sweet, sweet, kind man. Like, he just would answer any question. I just sat there for like 30 minutes talking to him, much to the chagrin of everyone else in line. So this is my boxed Rancor. It's not sealed. It is open. But I only have like 3 boxes from Kenner. But the Rancor is one of my absolute favorites of all time. So it really hurt me and broke my heart when the HasLab Rancor was so shitty. I didn't back it. I would have. If the tiers had been better, I would have backed it. But they just kind of slapped me in the face with those bullshit tiers. So here I have a test shot of Obi-Wan from Episode 2 next to his, store production, whatever. We have a first shot, test shot, whatever you call them. I call them prototypes of Chewbacca from the Black Series. Next to him I have my autographed Ula by Femi Taylor. So Power of the Force 2 comes with Salacious Crumb. Down one shelf from there, I have a Spider-Man, Samurai Spider-Man. I forget, it's SH Figure Arts or Bandai. I forget what they're called. They're called like Imaginations or something. But you saw the Sand Trooper up there. And my 2 Mezco cables, Cable being my favorite Marvel character. And below that are my 3 other Mezcos. My 3 other Mezcos. I have a Black Skull, Gotham by Gaslight Joker, and my Nosferatu. I have more Mezcos coming. I have a lot of them on pre-order from Mezco. So I don't know where they're going to go when they get here, but they'll go somewhere. In front of the Detolf case, I have my buckets of kind of Dio pieces. So as you know, I'm a big fan of doing practical effects. So there's like my cinder blocks and all that, some coffins and columns and some blow-up effects and barrels and all that. So whenever you see this stuff in the thumbnails, that's where it lives when it's not in the thumbnail. Starting some Star Wars Black Series. This is my Mandalorian shelf. So a whole bunch of stuff here. So I've got them flanked by the speeder bikes. So I've got some army builders, some randos, some credit collection stuff that I got when it was on deep clearance because I figured why not. Like the IG-11 there, he looks kind of rusted, and my plan was to make him more rusted and put like ferns and moss and stuff all over him, and I just never did it. Story of my life. So, there you go. There's them. And this Boba Fett falls over all the damn time. Alright, coming down a shelf, we have my Jedi Fallen Order shelf, and I have 4 Knight Brothers there, some Flame Troopers, the first Cal Kestis they put out, some Shock Troopers or Baton Troopers, whatever they called them. I got the GameStop Cal Kestis there with the double saber, second sister, and I have a bunch of K2SOs that I'm using as the droids, and a bunch of Purge Troopers that just kind of suck up all the light, so they are back there. There's like 4 or 5 of them, but they're back there. The shelf below that, I have a bunch of clones, from Lieutenant to Sergeant to Commanders and all that. I have Plo Koon and Kit Fistoed, my 2 favorite prequel Jedi. So there's Plo Koon's regular forearms. Those are First Order Stormtroopers that are made to look like Clone Trooper armed guards or whatever, since that's what they look like in Clone Wars. I wish we could get these 2 on like the Obi-Wan and Anakin body with like the armor, how they're supposed to be. I would love that. It's my favorite look. So some Aura Singh, Hondo Wanaka, Asajj Ventress, Cad Bane, Jango Fett. This is kind of like the prequel shelf. And no one fell over. That's Plo Koon's robe. I just tossed it back there. And then down here is more Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Anakin, Qui-Gon, Darth Maul, Grievous, all that. And some Episode 1 stuff. Okay, moving straight over from there. There's an autographed photo of Jason by Kane Hodder. We have a Mugwad, which is an extremely short-lived toy line. The guy only did, I think, like maybe 2 of these, and then he stopped. So I got one of the only ones ever made. Got one of my only Neca toys, the Hellraiser. And my glow-in-the-dark Predator back there. So I've been slowly trying to get rid of all my Neca stuff, but I'm keeping a handful of things. Got some Leonard aliens that I used Rit dye on, and, you know, to varying degrees of success, obviously, like he turned kind of bronze. My McFarlane Stranger Things Demogorgon, and my Neca Snake Alien, and my Neca Invisible Predator. This is all kind of horror sci-fi stuff, so there's my Mezco Rubik's Cube for the Lament configuration, Tiny Toons Pinhead. There's a City Predator, whom you may recognize as the one that I customized for Iconicon last year, but he's not customized anymore. Well, that's because I gave that one to Coachatron. So I just kind of got this one as a replacement. So hopefully he's in a good home and he enjoys it. Some Mega Construct stuff. That is a Burger King toy of the Gillman back there next to the Reaction one. Gillman's probably my favorite Universal monster, hence the Universal Monsters. I got those, had them on pre-order for Halloween last year and didn't get them until after Christmas, so I just left them in the box and put them over here. But there you go. Coming up a shelf, we have the Kenner Snake Alien. This is my favorite one as a kid. Well, next to the Mantis Alien, I like that one a lot. Got the Mail-Away Cloak Predator, some more Mega Constructs, Hiya toys and all that. That's a Mezco Frankenstein. That is a Day of the Living Dead figure that one of my old bosses gave to me. And this is the Jumbo Kenner Predator thing. I forget what they called it, but bear him in mind, because we're about to see something really cool here in about 2 seconds. So coming up from there, some more Mega Constructs. That is a Wendy's toy from when I was a kid. Still have it. Same thing with that Predator. I forget what those are called, but they're die-cast metal. Some more Mega Constructs. But we have the test shot of that Predator that we just looked at. So, again, I picked that up from Seth Hastings. He always found, like, really obscure, hard to find, like, cool kind of Grail stuff. Him and Matt Swafford both. Between the 2 of them, they're like the Lewis and Clark. They just find everything. Including this. This Gillman Slinky thing is from Sideshow Toys, and it is an unproduced toy. This is, from the way Seth Hastings was telling me when I bought it from him, it was from Toy Fair back in the day when it wasn't like an open event. Like, it wasn't like, look at all of our new stuff coming. It was like companies trying to get people to back stuff or sell things or whatever. So this was a display item for a toy line that never got produced, according to him. So I think that's kind of cool. It's got a really like thick, like regular cardboard card back, like super thick. And it's not actually attached, so it just kind of sit on the table that way. But I think it's kind of cool. Then I got my Rob. All right, moving up and over. I'm gonna have to kind of speed through because I'm running out of battery here. I have my 1/6 Star Wars stuff for 12-inch figures, except for my vintage Kenner, Vader obviously. But that's where they all live. I was a big fan of this kind of stuff as a kid. They played with my Hall of Fame G.I. Joes. So that's my vintage collection Slave 1 behind them. And this is my Power of the Force 2 green lightsaber that I got from Second Chance Toys. That's the lightsaber I had as a kid, and I loved it. So there's my Boba Fett, my Zuckuss, which is not doing so hot in the pleather department. So my Shadows of the Empire Slave 1 with its box. There's my Forlom, my Dengar, my Loose Bosk, and my Boxed Bosk. Let's try saying that 5 times fast. My Kenner Vader carrying case. So out of all the bounty hunters, I'm only missing IG-88. And of course, the most powerful Star Wars character, Rostico. Coming down from there, I have all my vintage Kenner stuff. So just let you kind of look at all these. So, because there's some like, you know, like kind of redos, I guess. But for the most part, they're all original. So, you know me, I gotta have all my Bosks, all different versions. So, like there's some Stan Solo back there, or like Tarkin isn't original vintage, obviously. And then these are like the vintage, not vintage collection, the retro collection or whatever. I mean, I have my original Yoda and then the vintage, retro, vintage, whatever the fuck it's called, that thing. And then like all the Mandalorian ones coming through here, so. Yeah, then I have a Mala Man or a Man of Maul, I forget which one it is, that was given to me by Michael Schaefer. I love that thing. Moving straight over, I have my Episode 4 Black Series, A New Hope Black Series, or Star Wars Black Series, whatever you want to call it. So, pretty much, you know, I tried to marry them up as best I could to their early bird mail away thing, but didn't do too well. So, I have my sealed copy of Star Wars back when it was $30. So, still sealed. Probably doesn't work. I'd imagine it's probably had a magnet run across it at some point. There's a land speeder. Coming down from there, I have my Sand Trooper display, which has all different variations of Sand Troopers back there. Trying to get them all into frame one way or another, to include little figure pins. So there's that. And that's actually that green boxed one right there. There's actually a cardboard fold-out display for the Cantina. So then I have a Sand Trooper model from Bandi. Just a rogue Sand Trooper that won't stand up. And then I have this original Sand Trooper that was gifted to me by Tony Roberts. Again, thank you so much for that. And my 5 dewbacks, because I got them on clearance and I bought them all out. They had 5 of them, they were like 15 bucks a piece, so I bought them all. Moving straight over, we have Bomar Monk with a Han Solo and Carbonite and Slave Leia with vintage Jabba and all that. I have my vintage dewback with the reins still intact. So there's his box. I have a box for him and a box for Jabba the Hutt. And Joseph V. I don't think I'm going to say this right. Joseph V.F. Fresh? You know who you are. I'm sorry. I can't. Every time I think I have it right, I get it wrong. But he and Michael Schaefer made this for me. They told me not to do an unboxing on it or anything like that, to just enjoy it. And I have. He lives right next to my dewback. So they knew Sand Troopers were my favorite. So, and coming down a shelf, I have my Power of the Force 2 X-Wing and my Kit Fisto collection. Him and Plo Koon are my favorite prequel-era Jedi, but Kit Fisto is my favorite prequel-era Jedi. I have my Mando Clone Trooper, some Obi-Wans, like this is all kind of prequel-era stuff through here, and then we start getting into original trilogy, except for Ki-Adi-Mundi, who's, again, one of my favorites. A bunch of Power of the Force 2 stuff, which is my favorite Star Wars line when it comes to like between that and vintage. I'll take Power of the Force 2 every day of the week. And back here, kind of hiding, is an Obi-Wan on Power of the Jedi, and he has a green lightsaber instead of blue. So that's why he's still there on the card. Next to that, we have this, which is my Return of the Jedi display. So it's my Black Series Jabba, my Black Series Slave Leia, Gamorrean Guard ×2. He's right there. Lando, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you have eyes, you can see what I'm saying. So I have my Kathleen Kennedy here, and my sealed Return of the Jedi VHS tape when it was $30. So below that, I have this display going on. All my stormtroopers with Vader and Luke battling it out in front of the Emperor and Thrawn. No rhyme or reason. Just wanted to get all my stormtroopers in one spot for the most part. So, and then whoever that guy is. I don't have any Imperial Guard, so he's filling in for that. Next to that, I have the kind of counterpart to the good guys that we were looking at. These are the bad guys, sort of. So I have my Episode 1 Darth Maul, Asajj Ventress, like, you have eyes. The 3 Stormtroopers, one of them is a Minban Trooper, the other 2 are Luke and Han and Stormtrooper Disguise for the Vintage Collection. All this kind of stuff. Some more Bosks, which, I love Bosk, so. Sand Trooper with a dewback, my Rancor, and I have 2 different Wampas, because I like the Wampa, and of course my TIE Fighter, and my Jabba. And then I have all these guys. So that is not a Sand Trooper, that's a Kanan Jarrus in disguise, Silver Sand Trooper. Below that, I have this, which is a light-up display from Black Series for Darth Vader, which is kind of cool. My Luke Skywalker. I got my Bespin Luke and my Episode 3 Obi-Wan. This is pseudo Return of the Jedi, kind of, sort of, ish. It's like the second half of Return of the Jedi. But it's that, and it's kind of like a catch-all. This is just where I put random shit. This is my customized Obi-Wan. So this is my Inquisitor Obi-Wan if he and Anakin had swapped places on Mustafar. That's kind of my interpretation of it. And of course, my Episode 5 Empire Strikes Back display. I got 2 Wampas, and I have the same kind of display thing, like that Darth Vader. It lights up, but the batteries are out. So this is where all the, bounty hunters and all that live. So it's like a mixture between Hoth and Bespin. But, I mean, they're not really organized too well, but there you go. It doesn't help that I have like reprints or redos. Like I've got 2 Forloms, 2 Zakas, things like that. Alright, and on the side of that shelf, I have some VHS release cardboard display kind of stuff. This is Sebulba. Yeah, Sebulba and Anakin from Episode 1 of the Pod Race. And now we'll start with Action Force. So there's that little custom drone monarch that I made. And all of my swarm. I have a lot of scarabs. So I've got 4 swarm. I've got 8 swarm altogether. So there's 4 of them. 3 wasp raiders. And the 4 more swarm. I had grand plans to have these 3 on like an elevated flight stand flying out of the back and these guys taking off and all that, but I don't have that many flight stands. Kind of got like a 3rd platoon of scarabs marching forward. I have 2 lines. So I have a line of like grenadiers and then kind of shieldmen with those MP5s, whatever those are called. So I think I have 27 scarabs overall. I think. Last I checked, maybe I have 28, but I think it's 27 scarabs. Put a little foam here for the pins, so they live here on the shelf. Next shelf of Action Force, you can see there in the back's all kind of like the customized, smashed together ones that I did. So they're not in any particular like order or fashion. In front of them, we have Sergeant Slaughter version 1 and some Delta Troopers. Got some Garrison Cavalry there with Karak and Punisher, who I decided to make part of the Garrison with Bone Collector. We got Steel Brigades up here, including the Gold Head back there with Condor. There's Icarus, for those that may remember him, with his little flight stand. There's the Valaverse Poker Chip. The Night Ops Steel Brigades that I just went over. There's Tony having a beer. We got Trigger, Rollout, Duster, and Sarge version 2. Below that, we have Darth Vader's TIE Advance with Anakin and some Snow Troopers. And I believe that's the Force Unleashed Battle Damage Darth Vader or something like that. And we have all these like hologram figures. We have that dude who, that's not Sassy 10, that's, can't remember his name, but he's falling forward a little bit. 2 Boba Fett's, Mashums or whatever, Kit Fisto. And here's a Bosk shelf. So we have the Blue Stripe Bosk, the Archive release. We have these 2, like statue Bosks. Power of the Force 2, the Trilogy Collection, the Vintage Collection or the Saga Collection, a Tiki Mug, a Mashable or Smash'em, whatever it's called, Bosk. Whatever that game is, a little Bosk. And this is from a guy named Hypno Shield on Instagram. I found him at Joe Fest. This is his Cowboy Bosk, or Cow Bosk, as he called him. So I was happy to get that. A little Cowboy Bosk head. Moving straight over from there, we have the Vintage Collection Rancor, which is a beastly toy. we have the prototype Blue Stripe Boba Fett and an archive Boba Fett, another dewback with a Sand Trooper because he couldn't fit on the shelf there, and he doesn't really fit on there. I don't think that's a Sand Trooper for that, but that's who's on there. And my vintage Kenner Slave 1. Above that, we have the Black Series. This is Rebels and Rogue One shelf. So, and again, I have like 2 Sabine Wrens. The second Ahsoka I have is over with the Mandalorian. She was a fill-in until the new Ahsoka came out, and I just never moved her back. 2 Kanan Jarrus. So, all the Rogue One crew, or the whatever they're called, I forget the name of their ship. That's called the Ghost Crew, but whatever this ship's called. So, I have all of them now. Got my Jedi Troopers, all that. Some Death Troopers back there, Shore Trooper. Coming up a shelf from there, we have Beast Wars. So, a lot of Beast Wars are packed into here. I'll just kind of shut up and let you look at them. So, Beast Wars was one of my favorite cartoons. It still holds up. It's still a good fucking show. So, if you have the chance, watch it. I believe it might still be on Tubi for free. So, definitely give it a watch if you have the chance. It's worth it. It holds up extremely well, I think. So, you can't really see Scorponok or Torka, but they're back there. So, there's Megatron, Optimus Prime, and then he's a knockoff, but it's my Masterpiece Dinobot, and that was given to me by Jody, so thank you, Jody, very much for that. He just barely, just barely fits in here, but I love him. Alright, coming up from there, we have Mythic Legions, so I got my Templars, Wood Troll, or whatever it's called, these guys, and Krampus, and then an actual Forest Troll. Like you can see just how big that thing is. It's huge. I think I was going to review that for the channel, and I wanted to get it open and play with it, so I didn't actually review it. Got this guy, we got the dog, we got Hagnon, and Arthur and Airnir. I don't remember their names, but... And then, moving on over, I have all my ToyBiz stuff. We got my Tiger Electronics, X-Men carrying case, and then all my 8 to 10 inch figures here. I got my boxed cable, loose cable, and 2 different versions of cable. Armor Spider-Man is my favorite one. Got my 2 bishops there. War Machine, Iron Man, Venom, and this really cool Iron Man translucent Spider-Man, and a red and black translucent Spider-Man. There's only one more version of cable that I don't have that I've thought about getting, and it's the cable body, but they put Wolverine's head on him and made him gold. So I don't know if I actually get them or not, but I've been thinking about it. Below that, we have ToyBiz villains. So there's like Rhino, Hydra Man, all that kind of stuff. Mojo, which Mojo, Hydra Man, Albert, and Apocalypse with a machine gun there. They're all left over from my childhood. They're childhood originals. So there's a movie Magneto. So a bunch of different versions of Apocalypse. I had every version of Apocalypse here except for Genesis and Age of Apocalypse. I had the other 4 when I was a kid. There's Bonebreaker. Down a shelf from there, we got a bunch of different kind of ToyBiz X-Men figures. You know, all sorts of different stuff. A lot of the stuff you've seen me talk about on the channel. That Marvel Superheroes U.S. Agent back there was given to me by Bobby. He knows that U.S. Agent is one of my favorites. To me, that was Captain America when I was a kid, so he gave that to me. Colossus, another one of my favorites. There's George Washington Bridge, Forge, another favorite. 2 bishops, and I think I have 5 cables, 5 different versions of cable. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's Deadpool, Cyclops, Storm and Daredevil, and Nightcrawler and all that. Coming down from there, I have a carded Ultron next to the loose Ultron, Stegron, Cannonball, Shatterstar, all these guys, Ghost Rider, random. These Bendums that you're going to see, or all the Bendums that you've seen or will see, are still left over from my childhood. You can't really see Magneto back there, but he's there in Spider-Man. So, there's Chode. That Cyborg Spider-Man's a childhood original. So, same as that Cameron Hodge back there, not the loose one, or not the carded one, but the loose one is a childhood original. There's this little squirt gun. That's a childhood original. And over here is my filming and editing station. There's my Ron Burgundy. He hangs out next to me because he's very important. This is my chair that just coincidentally is Valaverse green. These are the lamps that I use. This is my... ignore that. So I got my stickers and all that, sticker displays and everything. And my battery's about to die, so we'll come back here in a second. Alright, coming back. I have my Columbia poster, which you've seen, I have a thing for BioShock. So I have it on PS4 and 3, but I don't think we've gotten PS3 yet, but we will. This is my kind of top of my desk where I put all my video game stuff. It's my Kikimora, which is technically the Witcher 3 from Netflix, but it didn't fit anywhere else, and I was like, well, fuck it. It's Witcher, so video game. Then I've got my, whatever that dude is from League of Legends, and my Mortal Kombat stuff from McFarlane, which I thought about trying to put with my Storm Collectibles, but they're fine living over here, I guess. So that's the Troll from Witcher 3. There's my Booker DeWitt and Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite. So my little X-Men arcade, which was made by my friend Paul. And Mortal Kombat and Asteroids, those actually work. There's my Litten from Pokemon. That is a giant from a tabletop game called Mage Knights that I used to play when I was a kid. So there's our Witcher 3 characters. There's my ceramic ocarina, my letter opener from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the Jada Toys Swamp Thing that is from Injustice 2 Gods Among Us, I think. So there's Ghastly, Snorlax, Blastoise, and Gengar, Shocker, and Cubone. You might notice I have a couple favorites. So then we got some Dark Souls characters like Solaire and the Black Knight. We have Doom Guy. So then we start our Nintendo characters. I have a bunch of Legend of Zelda characters. That is I forget who made that Link. That's from 1996 or 7, I don't remember. So World of Nintendo, there's Zelda, there's a little Link, and a little Bowser and a shell. Those were from a gachapon that was in our Kmart when I was a kid. So, and some of these you've seen before on the channel. Got some Mega Constructs, Kratos with a shield, and Kratos without. Then I've got some Metroid stuff, a Fallout, Power Armor, Mega Man, who started the whole channel. That is a big Metroid, a Nintendo book from my childhood, and a big key, or a boss key. So it's 8-bit metal or whatever. Down here in this little cubbyhole, I have Fisher-Price Adventure People. I've got 2 deep-sea divers. And in the little thing there, I forget what his official name is, but I've had him since childhood. He hangs out in there. He doesn't stand up very well on his own. So, there's some more. We got 4 Visionaries. Well, 2 of them are the same person, but still, I really like Visionaries. You can see the little hologram gorilla still works on them, and the 2 lions. So, their flags and weapons somewhat are back there because the flags are too big. And some Battle Beasts. These are a new thing for me. I just started collecting these not too long ago. So, there's not a whole lot of them. I think there's only like 80 something of them, so it could be fairly easy to collect. Except there is one called King Cobra, who I saw exactly one listing for, and it was like $800 for him, so I will not be getting that one. I'm picking them up here and there. I don't care about the weapons, I just like the little figures. And these are my Knights of Britain, what are these things called? They're just called Britons, 1971. I've had these since childhood, or my grandma and grandpa used to send me 1 or 2 every birthday and Christmas. There was one birthday where I got like 4 of them. I actually got 2 of these archers right here, and a couple others, so I really like these. I got some on horseback and a dragon back there, and then this little statue of a guy. So these were really fun when I was a kid. That brings us to all the Marvel Legends. So let's go ahead and go over that. We'll start up here. All the way up here at the top, which you won't be able to hear me very well because I'm kind of far away from my camera, is a Cable from the Sasquatch wave. I kept him boxed because Cable's my favorite character. And a Deadpool from that same wave. And the only reason I kept him boxed is he has 2 left hands. He came packaged that way. Or he has 2 right hands, sorry. I think. Whichever, you'll be able to look at it and tell, but he has 2 of the same hand, and that's why I kept him packaged. That brings us down here to my big-sized Incredible Hulk, which was designed by Bobby Valla, and I got him to autograph that, so that's kind of cool. Next to my Infinity Gauntlet, which was also designed by Bobby Valla, and autographed as well. Then my Diamond Select statue of Daredevil from Netflix. I have the I still have one of my Sentinels, and I don't know what to do with the extra heads, so they're just kind of around the display. This is a custom minifig of Red Hulk that I got at a convention. This is one of my anti-Venoms. I have two of them, because one of them was getting a little loosey-goosey. This is actually the better of the two, but I just left them up here. Two of the ToyBiz Legends that I have, and the Diamond Select Sandman. This is the carded Kingpin that I left on the card. My friend Ryan sent that to me. So, because I had given away one of my other ones, and I had plans for him, and I decided to leave them boxed. That is a piece of cable artwork off the Diamond Select. Here's my Wolverine from that same Hulk line, again autographed by Bobby Bella. There is the cable that the artwork came from. The Diamond Select Mysterio, another head right there, and the Tesseract, and my War Machine Punisher helmet, and my favorite Spider-Man, which I think is like the end-all be-all best one you can get, is like, I think he's like 18 inches, or he's huge. But he has so many points of articulation. I think this is one of the best ones that's ever been made. Which brings us down to our first Spider-Man shelf. So we have a lot. There's a lot of Spider-Man stuff. So I have some that are kind of hidden back there. Like there's Morbius with Armadillo. And I army built the Mysterios. You can see I have a bunch there. I have one of the Lizard Wave, and then a bunch of the retro carded. There's another loose Kingpin. There's my Rhino, Sandman, Hydra Man, the first Green Goblin, Mary Jane, which I know is the Gwen Stacy, but I don't really care for her, so that's my Mary Jane. Cyborg, Spider-Man, Shocker. It's my Kraven, Hammerhead, J. Jonah. There's my favorite Hobgoblin that they've done, which was the Space Venom wave, I believe. Retro carded Spider-Man, my Peter Parker. There's the re-release Green Goblin. Scorpion's kind of hiding back there. Electro, and then of course my Doc Ock with the custom bendy wire tentacles. That brings us over here to kind of the symbiote shelf. So I'll just kind of let you look through here at all the different symbiotes. I have a bunch of different venoms and toxins and the like. So monster venom and all that. There's another anti-venom. Scorpion Venom, there's Carnage, Black Suit Spidey, and down here there's like Doppelganger and all that. They're all posed, but because they're posed, you can't really see them in front. So there's Black Cat, Daredevil, Phage, all of them. So lots of different Venoms, lots of different ones. So there's the re-release of Hobgoblin. I know he's supposed to be like an animated look, I guess, kind of, but I like the scale arms better on the other one. There's the video game Spider-Man, Kane, all that kind of stuff, Armored Spider-Man. This is, or was, going to be a custom Cletus Cassidy, but I never got around to painting the head. That's just the Lex Luthor body from Man of Steel, I believe it is, or Batman v Superman. There's my Spider Noir. That's a 3D printed hat. There's my six-armed Spider-Man doing his yoga stuff. And now we're down on the, what I call the classic villain shelf. I mean, there are other classic villains, but this is just one that I kind of threw together. So, kind of scan in the back here, let you take a look at all this stuff. So that's the Diamond Select Abomination, but my Bath Abomination is still missing the head, because people want like $60 for that head. Makes no sense to me. But, got some scrolls there with the Super Scroll, Doctor Doom, Leader. Got, you know, all that kind of stuff. This is not a custom Baron Zemo, but I did add that. That is the cloth back thingy off M'Baku, the bath. So if you just pop that off, you can paint it, cut the peg off, and just wears it pretty easily. This is my MCU shelf, because I don't collect MCU, but I do have a bunch of them for no reason, apparently. I fit them all on one shelf, and there is not a lot of room left, I can tell you that. So, all sorts of neat stuff in here. Agent Carter was kind of pulled up a little bit further, but her elbow's starting to give up. She's starting to slide down. So, but yeah, this is them. Not a whole lot really to talk about or write home about. Just MCU figures, the ones I decided to keep. This Bucky, or Winter Soldier I should say, is actually a Spec Op body from Valaverse. I just did some boil and pop and swapped out the arm and the head and all that kind of stuff in the hands. This is a kind of a catch-all shelf. I didn't know what to put on here. I know I wanted these three, the new 20th anniversary versions, but because I had them, I didn't know what else to put up here, so it's just kind of random stuff, I guess. So, yep, that's about it. I don't even collect these guys, but I ended up with a bunch of them, just somehow. I don't even know. And coming down to our first X-Men shelf, scan along the back here. You have to pause and look at things if you want to, because I'm not going to sit here and name every character. We'll be here all fucking day if I do. So, but there's like people hidden and all that kind of stuff, so. Yep, it is packed full to bursting. So that is the new Havoc. I really like the effects with him. And of course, I gotta put Cable out in front. He's my favorite. And this Hawkeye is really good stuff. That's probably one of the best Marvel Legends ever. That brings us over to X-Men shelf number 2, which is not all the villains. There are some good guys over here, and there are X-Men villains elsewhere. But this is like predominantly the villain shelf. There's that custom Apocalypse I did. So, got both my Juggernauts, my Sugar Man. So, all these different characters. So, again, there's a couple heroes over here, and there's X-Men villains elsewhere, but just kind of put them where I could. So, there's my Mojo right there. And this is our first, like, big catch-all shelf. I have 2 of them, which is just people that I just put wherever I could fit them. We have Alpha Flight here in the corner, so the whole team's here, minus Wolverine, but whatever. So, there's Wendigo next to them. There's my Bath Abomination, still missing the head, because it's a $60 head for no reason. There's an Iron Man hidden there next to Crimson Dynamo. So, there's kind of my Russian people with like Ursa Major and Magic and Red Guardian and all that. There's my 2 Reavers that I have. Well, only one of them is technically a Reaver. The other one's just Nuke with Reese's head on it. There's one of my Hulks. I think that's Meg back there. There's that Hydra Supreme or whatever his name is. Joe Fixit, Moon Knight, Maverick. There's a Wolverine. There's a Deadpool, Phantom X. Behind Nimrod is the Jim Lee Cyclops, the Warlock Wave. I think that was. Yep, all sorts of cool stuff. Before we transition to the next shelf, hanging out next to that is my Iconicon Boba Fett, because I haven't figured out where I'm going to put him yet. And my 9.4 graded New Mutants 87, the first appearance of Cable. So, I'm not sure where to put that. I was going to put it on the very, very top, but there's nowhere really for me to put it. So, it just hangs out next to my desk. But that is my favorite comic that I own. As Cable's my favorite, that's his first appearance. Alright, the next catch-all shelf is a bunch of Hulks, mostly. Kind of all the Baths there in the back. So, you can see there's quite a swath of variety of things. We got characters that are really hiding, like back there behind Blade. So, it is what it is. So, yep, we got another Cable down here from the Juggernaut Wave. So, just all sorts of stuff. Got Odin, Radiation Man. So, this, again, it's a catch-all. It's people that have a home, kind of, but I didn't really know where to put them. So, or I just didn't have room for them. And next to that, I have the Amazon Days of Future Past Sentinel with Wolverine hanging out. And then I have my HasLab Sentinel holding onto the new Wolverine because I didn't have anywhere really to put him. After that is a print that's autographed. I don't remember the guy's name, but he's the one that did all the covers for Marvel Zombies. So that's what that is. Up from there, we have some Scyther artwork. The same guy that did the Derpidos back there. And we have my Majora's Mask, which is a full-size mask. It is a 1-to-1, so it is wearable. It's just very uncomfortable if you do. Which brings us to the Motu display. I have that Flocked Panther back there, which is for Tony, whenever I get a chance to mail that out to him. Next to my regular Panther and Skeletor, I have the Fright Zone that's populated by Blanca and Pinhead for some reason. I have my vintage Castle Grayskull, populated by Man-at-Arms from the Origins, and same with Sorcerers. Sky Sled with Naked Stratos, and Eternian Guard, He-Man and Battle Cat, and the new Motu Origins castle, which was gifted to me by Scuba Pete. Again, manned by Man-at-Arms and Stratos up there. Moving down, we have the Motu Origin shelf for the good guys. You know, Buzz Off and She-Ra. She-Ra's given to me by Thomas over at Lio Convoy. Fisto, Ram Man, all that, this, that, and bric-a-brac. There's Zodak. There's my custom Wondar that I made like 2 years ago. So there's that Battlefield, whatever, He-Man, Battle Armor, He-Man from the 2-pack. That's also for Tony whenever I get a chance to send it out. And here's some minifigs. Those are from Dollar Tree. And then Mega Constructs all the way down. I was doing pretty good at keeping up with these, but I kind of stopped getting them. Down here is all my vintage Motu for the heroes. So Buzz Off and Fisto, got the Piggy Bank, Battle Armor He-Man, regular He-Man, and my childhood He-Man, which I don't remember having He-Man as a kid, but he was with my childhood toys when I visited my mom, so clearly had him. Got the alarm clock back there, that's my childhood Mechanic, and I forget what that Viking dude goes to, but he's from my childhood, so he's here with Motu, and my childhood Fisto, and my childhood Orko. Same with my Battleman and Battlecat, or He-Man and Battlecat book. It's the vinyl still in the back of it. This Hordak and Land Shark came to me by James Salzberg. Those are his childhood ones, and he gifted them to me, so they live here. And I think that's Rock On or Stone Dar. It's one of those two, I don't remember. And I got these little mini dudes here doing God knows what. I don't know what they are, but I have them. So, all of that. And that little Sky Sled ramjet thing, whatever that is, that was given me by Ryan. Weirdly, I still have his gun, but I have somehow lost my vintage Zodak. I have no idea where he went or what happened to him. I was setting up these displays, and he's gone. 100% gone. No idea. Starting at the next bookcase over at the top shelf, we have all the Motu Origins bad guys. So, Merman, Hordax, you know, Mosquitour, all of them, Evil Ends there in the back. Scareglow got the Anti-Eternia He-Man next to the custom that I made over a year ago. Skeletors, Beastmans, all that kind of stuff. Triclops, the one that Michael French fixed for me. And back there, in the very back, is my mini comic version of Triclops. He now has the correct arm, because if you remember, mine had 2 right arms. They just put one on backwards. I don't remember who. I apologize. Someone sent an extra torso to Bobby to give to me. And if that was you, thank you very, very much. But I don't remember who he said. So there's all that stuff. And the Mega Constructs, Motu Constructs, whatever they call it, and Dollar Tree figures, minifigs. So got some of those again. That's Slime Pit He-Man, that's one of my favorites. And the Roton. Coming down a shelf is all my vintage bad guys. So I've got my Triclops, got another book with the vinyl in the back. Most of these, if not all of these, were purchased from Reclaimers Vintage. So this is the web store that I got for Tony, so that'll be his whenever I get a chance to send it out. So there's Flog, I mean. So there's those kind of Japanese versions of the Motu figures. I think Super 7 did those, I don't remember, but I just like the artwork on the box mostly. But here's the Mantisaur that I got off Matt Swafford. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. I love this thing. And Optic. I know New Adventures get shit on a lot, but Optic's really freaking cool. And there's another one of those little mini rubber things that I got. I don't know what they are. And down here is what remains of my Motu classics. I've sold off all the rest of them. I have my Slime Pit He-Man, which I just really love because he's translucent green. So, Anti-Eternia He-Man, Gray Skull Man, Hordak. I really don't care for Faker, but I still have him. So, it's mostly villains, as you can see. I have a thing for villains. Another Slime Pit He-Man by reaction, because again, translucent green. And moving over from that is Dragon Ball Z. So you'll see a lot of Broly. I like Broly quite a bit. So, we got, I think there's 6 Brolys here, and a bunch of Trunks. These are pretty much my favorite characters is what I have, except for a couple. But pretty much Trunks, Broly, Android 16, Piccolo, like those are my favorite characters. So, just got a bunch of those here. So, and that Piccolo is the only other pop vinyl that I have, and it's autographed by Chris Sabat, the guy who voices him. I was at a convention, and I didn't know Chris Sabat was going to be there. He wasn't listed on the celebrities, because he only showed up for one day, and I ran around the con floor looking for anything that was Piccolo that I could buy to get him to autograph, and that's all they had, so I ended up with a pop vinyl. But otherwise, the vintage Piccolo's Gohan, who I never really cared about. But Trunks has always been my favorite, so Trunks and Broly being a close second. I have a connection with Broly, kind of a funny story, but it's a story for another time that I've already told on the channel a couple of times. So, and next to all that, there's our 7th Broly, so I think I miscounted, next to Super Android 13, who's vintage. I forget the name of the line that he was part of, but he was part of the vintage line. I had a Goku just like him in that scale, and Super Android 13 was the one I always wanted, so I got a great deal on him on eBay. Coming around from there, there's the PlayStation 3, and I think that's just a DVD player. And that is a Millennium Falcon, a Kenner one that I'm restoing at the moment. So that was given to me by Michael French. Eventually I will get that done. Just kind of waiting on the availability of parts because I'm trying to use as many repro parts as I can to fix it up. Across from that is my childhood Super Nintendo and my kind of childhood N64. It's my second N64. The one I had as a little kid was the clear jungle green one. That one has a sad story behind it, why it's not here anymore. But this one got to replace it. So technically it is a childhood Nintendo 64, it just wasn't my first one. And after that, I have my SNES Classic, which is great. I have it jailbroken, so it has a whole bunch of extra games on it. That is my Raspberry Pi, which I'm not sure if it actually works. I bought it and paid a friend to set it up, and it didn't work the first time. Then I gave it back to him. He said he'd fix it, and I never got to test it out. So it's my Game Boy Color with a bunch of different games. One copy of Zelda, Metroid 2, Pokemon Blue, Silver, Red, and Mario 2 are all childhood original games. That is also my childhood Game Boy. And a Game Boy Advance, which is not my childhood Game Boy Advance, but it was a birthday gift. Which brings us to the PlayStation 3 tower, so you can see all the PlayStation 3 games that I have. So, yeah, I think these are actually in alphabetical order. So there's that. Alright, you may have been wondering why I was walking so close to bookshelves. It's because if you look here at the collection, there's these two big tables with everything. So this is our last stop. So this is the Legacy AT-AT. It was a Toys R Us exclusive, which I think the only difference was that it had mud on its feet instead of snow, and the speeder bike was brown instead of white. Next to the Power of the Force 2 AT-AT, which is one of my favorites. Next to the Power of the Force 2 Chicken Walker. So these are the versions that I grew up with. They're kind of the ones I have the most nostalgia for. And there's some vintage collection snowtroopers getting squished. So there's Super Colossal Indominus Rex. Next is Super Colossal T-Rex. And these are some click-and-play military setups, like a fence line and the tower and all that kind of stuff. I talked about these during Iconicon 2021. So they're made up by some figures. This is the Bivouac, which is my favorite mini playset for G.I. Joe, gifted to me by Scott Hughes. So very, very cool. Love this playset. I know it's simplistic. You should ask me if I care. And this is going to make some of the Joe Bros angry, but this is my G.I. Joe headquarters. It is like 99% complete, and I have it manned up by my Street Fighter II figures gifted to me by Michael French. Ask me if I fucking care. You can either get over it or you can die mad. I don't care. So, here I have Guile looking for his main squeeze, Chun-Li, but Chuckles kind of stole his gal, so he's going to have to fight Guile at some point. Brings us around to the fence line. This is the other kind of building that you can get with Click and Play. I think these things are great. They scale with G.I. Joe, and you get some really cool stuff with it. So, not my best diorama I've ever set up, but it's close enough. This is the Power of the Force 2 Falcon. I have the sticker sheet for it, but the stickers are giving up the ghost. They've kind of lost most of their adhesive. So I took the liberty of scanning them in to my computer so I can print them off on sticker paper. So that's coming down the pipeline eventually. And that is next to my Legacy Falcon. And in case you've never seen the two side by side for a height, there you go. They're, Legacy Falcon's quite big. So it is 100% complete. I've got Chewie and Han here in the cockpit. Or I'm sorry, I think I only have Chewie. No, I got Chewie and Han in the cockpit, but I also have a Han down here at the landing gear. I took the batteries out because I didn't want them to explode. But there you go. You can see the Power of the Force 2 Falcon disappear behind this one. So, and that's it, everybody. That is the collection tour. If you have any other remaining questions, or, something you want to ask about regarding the collection, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Hopefully this was of some kind of entertainment to you, or some type of value to you or something. I don't know. People have been asking for this for a couple of years, and I'm just now getting around to it. So, in case you don't know, like if you're just a new viewer who got this as a recommended, I move a lot. So, I've been moving a lot, like since my channel started, I've been moving a lot. So, it's kind of the first time that's been displayed properly. It's usually in boxes and everything else. Like I still like have totes under here that are full of toys that are in storage. So, mostly toys that I'm trying to sell. Like if I don't want it anymore, like for me to not display something means I don't want it, which means I'm gonna sell it. You know what I mean? So anything that's under here is like stuff I'm selling or getting rid of. For the most part, I do keep my boxes down here though. So kind of win-win sort of. But yeah, if you got any questions, just put them in the comments, I guess. So otherwise, that's all I got for you. So thanks for coming by. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Till next time, I'm Sal, signing off.